The question, what are some things I need to keep in mind while writing about a blind main character? There are two distinct types of blind people, those that have been blind from birth and those who have become blind at some point in their life. Clearly, each type of blindness will carry its own characteristics that will be reflected in your character and how they perceive things. For example, someone who has been blind from birth will have a greater sense of touch, smell and hearing. These will be the only reference points through which they can sense and recall the world around them. However, someone who has become blind is most likely to be able to call on a memory full of visual references. So, by feeling another person's face, they may have a better understanding of whether that person is beautiful, young, old, etc. The person who has been blind from birth would not necessarily be able to build a mental picture of a person's face in this way because he or she will have no visual reference in their memory. But, they could use the sense of touch to know whether someone has long or short hair, even though they will not know what hair actually looks like. It's important to understand these differences when writing characters for a story. Clearly, someone who has previously had the benefit of visual references would be able to describe things, and possibly people, simply through touch. They will be able to interpret audible sounds into visual images of what they may be hearing, a rattlesnake for example. Someone who has been blind from birth will only be able to understand the danger of a rattlesnake if they have had some sort of previous experience in which they have been told this sound is a poisonous snake that can bite, so be careful and don't try and touch what you can hear. Clearly, in writing characters, authors often describe things from the character's perspective. This may be more complex if the character was blind from birth. For example, if you were describing your character waking up in the middle of a wheat field miles from anywhere, you're going to have to explain how the character knew this. You would have to describe him or her reaching out and touching the wheat and recalling how his grandfather took him through a wheat field when he was a boy living on the farm. You'll have to explain that the character knew he was miles from home because of the absence of familiar noises. If the character went to sleep in the middle of New York City and woke up in the wheat field, he would instinctively know that there are no wheat fields in the city, therefore, he must some way from home. So, it's all about describing things from your character's impaired perspective. In some cases, the character will understand more quickly due to his or her visual memories. In other cases, you're going to have to put a greater amount of effort into describing the learning or discovery process your character may have to go through.